What's up, everybody, and welcome to Courtside Convo's little fantasy basketball content here on the Fantasy Advice Network. And first, actually, let me introduce myself. Hi, my name is Chadwell. Very interesting doing fantasy basketball content. Usually, I don't make this type of content on YouTube, but I am very knowledgeable into the fantasy basketball world. I have another YouTube channel called Lesser Athletes. Go check it out. More basketball and more football channel, not fantasy related content on there, but let's get started today with a nice fantasy basketball 5-wire pickups for the rest of the season. I have Malik Monk here. Am I saying Malik Monk is a good pickup? Well, if he's available in your league, I truthfully would say to pick him up. But Malik Monk is definitely something that last year when we were looking at who are players that are going to be very good for a quick pickup, that could be on the utility spot, that could be somebody that is maybe a last-second game changer and can really fill up that roster spot, would be nice to have with the Sacramento Kings. Him with De'Aaron Fox, of course, the Kentucky connection was very well last season. Has been very decent this season too. Look like the Kings might potentially get that third star. Malik Monk won't be a part of it because I think Malik Monk is definitely better than a lot of role players in the NBA today. But we're going to be looking at some waiver wires that I think personally will be a good addition if you are really trying to find a way maybe into playoffs, maybe a way to just win overall. Maybe you're thinking about players that are going to be, better later on in life, maybe at the very end with playoffs, or maybe, again, just this week in general. So we have 5 here today. Might do another part 2 to this. We'll have to see, but let's get started. So the first player here for me is Isaiah Hartenstein, and there's a lot of factors that go into this. First, when we look at the availability, 25% on Yahoo, 3% on Sleeper, 41% on ESPN. When you're looking at some of these diamonds in the rough kind of waiver wire pickups, we're looking at more like 50% and under. Isaiah Hartenstein, actually, when we really look at it, doubled on ESPN, 23% in the past, I think, week. So obviously people are going to start picking him up after monster games. We can look at his last 4 game rebound numbers, 20, 15, 14, and 19. And there's a lot of things that factor into this Knicks type of basketball play that is going to, I think, elevate Isaiah Hartenstein to a solid starting center in the NBA. We'll have to see when Mitchell Robinson comes back. Maybe he's going to take a step back, but will still play good minutes. Or maybe he gets traded somewhere where they potentially do get better minutes somewhere else, because he has proven that he can be a starting center. And the reason why is because of the no center depth. I just said Mitchell Robinson a second ago, of course, had a season-ending injury for the New York Knicks. And you can maybe say that, hey, it wasn't season-ending. They got this the disabled player exception just not approved. And I agree with you. I think there is a chance that Mitchell Robinson came back. When they first talked about the injury, it sounded like an injury that they could come back from, not a injury that's going to sideline him for the season, but that's what they said. But clearly, the NBA must know something if they are denying the disabled player exception. With this in mind, though, I think Isaiah Hartenstein, because the playoffs are only, most fantasy leagues, playoff starts around March, end of March, beginning of March, whatever, somewhere in March. And they go on till the very beginning of April or end of March, like I said before. Isaiah Hartenstein is going to be in that conversation, be proven to give you good numbers. If you're looking at 9-cat leagues, of course, the rebounding numbers are insanity. The good target category to focus on. If you're looking at points, might not be as great as points. But if you're looking for potentially assist, I think this is somebody that could definitely give you some good assist numbers. I think before this last year, he had a great assist numbers where he was still as a, top big center. I remember when he played for the Clippers, I think it was, that he was getting those good assist numbers that would help you easily in 9-cat leagues, definitely in points leagues if you're thinking assists are worth 2 or 1.2, whatever it might be. Isaiah Hartenstein, though, is somebody that I think in 9-cat leagues is a very undervalued and be a very good pickup when it comes down to it. Next, we have Tari Eason, and there's some red flags with Tari Eason that we'll get into. But first, we look at, just been out. Tari Eason's been somebody that I think I've been out since, I want to say, middle of December, around there. I think maybe the 8th, somewhere around. No, actually, that's a lie. It was like more in the end of December. But Tari Eason has been out, and even though his mom or somebody might say that he's going to be fine, Ime Udoka is still saying that he will be out for another week or two. depending on the severity of the injury, and that could be something that you not want to see as a fantasy owner. But there is a lot of factors I think will benefit Tari Eason when it comes down to it. Rockets playoffs hope is a big one, where I think, what we see on these bad teams that are supposed to be teams that are doing bad, and then when it comes later on in the season, they just fully quit on some of their players. We could see this with the Utah Jazz last season. We could see this with the Blazers last season. I'm trying to think of other players. Devin Vassell's season-ending injury was more of a take for Wemby kind of thing. So I really do think that with the Rockets playoffs host in availability, Tari Eason will be getting those big minutes. And the reason why, again, Udoka loves his defensive players. The reason why Ime Udoka was such a great hire for the Rockets was because they didn't have a culture. They didn't have a culture that was built on something, either offensive culture, either defensive culture, and he built a great defensive culture we're already seeing with Tari Eason. In his last 10 games, his averages have been 13.6 points per game. Pretty decent point numbers for somebody on maybe the bench. 8 rebounds per game and 2.6 steals per game, which is insanity to say. I really think that's the most underrated thing here. Let's say in your low 9-cat league, you have Shea already, which was blowing out people in steals numbers, kind of falling back, starting to ease up and catch. I think Donovan Mitchell is at 1.9 and Shea is at 2.4, 2.5, around there. Starting to catch up with him. Say you have Tari Eason on the bench there. There's a lot of leagues I think that would not have those steals this week that you would need to compete, and having Shea there Shea and a Tari Eason would maybe be enough for the week. Granted, there's definitely some other factors that will factor in, but Tari Eason is definitely somebody that will get you those good numbers. I feel great about Tari Eason just straight ahead with only 1 to 2 weeks out. This is somebody that I think will be somebody that is not on anybody's radar. Speaking of his availability, actually, let's look at that. 47% on Yahoo. A lot of actually big percentages on Yahoo. Did not expect that. But for sleepers, 7%, and ESPN 8.7%. I really do feel like the Tari Eason is somebody that is going to be better on a utility spot in a roster, but we'll have to see. Up next, Braden Podziemski, and there's a lot of factors with Braden too. I think there's, myself included, shocked when Braden Podziemski is starting to get star minutes, starting to get 6-man minutes, whatever it might be. He's starting to get those minutes, and maybe you didn't believe it before. Maybe you did before, thinking that, Santa Clara coming out, already played for 1 year, a little older prospect compared to others, even though he is still, I think, 21. He's still somebody that is going to be kind of young in this convo. Braden Podziemski looks excellent for the Warriors. There's a lot of factors that also go into Braden Podziemski's potential in this whole thing. Warriors reconstructing roster. Warriors have made it very clear that when the trade deadline comes, that there's going to be a reconstruction of their roster. There's going to be players that are gone, players that are kept. There's going to be players that just added to the team that doesn't make sense, maybe. Whatever it might be, Braden Podziemski, I can tell you right now, is definitely not on that trade block. If there is a player that is going to make them win now, and that Braden, for example, Pascal Siakam would not be in a deal. Trying to think of some crazy players that potentially have been in trade talks. Julius Randle? I don't think Braden Podziemski would be in the deal. I don't think Julius Randle's also getting traded, granted. But I do think that Braden Podziemski has solidified himself with the Warriors. Another thing that has really helped him recently has been the CP3 injury. CP3 going out for about 6 weeks. I think we're on week 3 on that. Definitely has helped him a lot when it comes to the minutes, because CP3 was a facilitator when it came to the bench. But Braden Podziemski gained those facilitating minutes and facilitating possessions on the basketball. Warriors potential trade, kind of the same thing with the reconstructing of roster. More on reconstructing of what roster, though, is the fact that they have moved around players. Braden Podziemski starting, Jonathan Kuminga starting, then they switch Andrew Wiggins to the bench. We've also talked about Trayce Jackson-Davis has gone a move up over Looney. There's been some players that have gotten just trying to find their rhythm. They've been moved around, and Braden Podziemski has been on the positive side of that. and it's really good. Great to add in 9 cat. If we even just look at his stats in the past month, I don't want to do his full stats because we're looking at minutes that he played 1 minute and had no good stats at all. Just in the stats for the past month, 10.8 points per game, low end on the points. Assists and rebounding number are very, very solid. This is somebody that is an all-around threat when it comes to a player. I think somebody that is definitely like this also is a J-Dub, and it's great enough. They both went to Santa Clara. J-Dub is definitely somebody that doesn't have to have the ball, but can still get you those good assist numbers when he needs to, can rebound very well. Just be an athlete. Brandon Brzezinski just like that on 29 minutes too, which isn't bad. I think that is very much starting minutes, but that is very good minutes to have as a rookie. And I think that Steve Kerr I think that the Warriors know that Brandon Brzezinski is going to be someone that is there moving forward and will work around with the Warriors. Oh, I didn't even talk about his availability. Yahoo set 42%, Sleeper 2%, ESPN 12%. Yahoo has been, those big rosters that have caused some of this percentage to go up. But I do think that with Sleeper and ESPN being at 2 and 12, Brandon Brzezinski is probably still on your waiver wire. Up next is Luke Kennard, and this is somebody that I have seen multiple times. People have talked about, hey, Luke Kennard is the big steal, and I do agree with you. I think this is someone in the diamond in the rough scenario where Luke Kennard is somebody that is going to be either a huge hit or a huge miss. And there's a couple of reasons why. John Morant, Marcus Smart, and Desmond Bane for a little. I actually made this when I said Desmond Bane for a little. Right before the Desmond Bane news came out that he's out for 6 weeks. Crazy enough. So, slight diamond in the rough, in my opinion, with the fact that the high clips of shots that he takes. There's a lot of times where Luke Kennard will be the biggest point scorer, scoring threes, adding the most points he could on his stats. And then there's going to be some games where he shoots 3 for 14, and you're like, why did I listen to the guy that told me on Courtside Convo that I should add Luke Kennard? And I'm just here to tell you, I already told you so. So there's definitely some hit or miss with Luke Kennard, especially with I think the John Morant, Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane out for a while now, not for just a little. It's going to be interesting. Who's taking the point guard reign when Tyus Jones has been gone? I've seen crazy that it's been David Roddy, which I slightly disagree. I think Luke Kennard is going to be their point scorer, especially when somebody like Jaren Jackson Jr. is out. Memphis Grizzlies, man, I honestly, to be honest, I think Desmond Bane's injury wasn't as bad, but they're going to keep him out as long as they can. They're truly just going for full tank, in my opinion. They're seeing that teams are doing better. They're going to go a little less. I really think that the Grizzlies are going to be a high-end lottery pick somebody more in the forward position, and fix a lot with them. I think they're going to finally find someone that can be that 3-and-D wing that they've been desperately needing. Should have traded for OG Anunoby, but didn't. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. But Luke Kennard, definitely a good pickup. We look at the availability numbers, 25% on Yahoo, 3% on Sleeper, 3.3% on ESPN. This guy is definitely on waiver wires in your league unless you're in a 30-man league. I really think Luke Kennard is going to be someone that is going to just get you those high points when it matters. But if we look at the other stats, they're not coming. And we're talking about somebody that is going to score a lot of points and not score a lot on the rebounds and assists scenario, we're going to be looking at Alec Burks. In January, 21.1 minutes per game, 48% from the field, 46.9% from 3, 18.4 points per game. That is crazy. I think for Alec Burks, for a Pistons team that you can see here desperately needs scorers. They need somebody that, it's not even just scorers, it's shooters. A lot of people ask, well, what's the problem with the Pistons? Which I've not to plug, but I have made a video on lesser athletes. The Pistons desperately need shooters. That's the biggest thing that they came into this free agency, and with Troy Weaver not being really the GM that uses shooters and uses the free agency very well, they desperately need shooters. And with Alex Burks shooting this well, they're going to use him more. It's just truthful. Isaiah Livers was traded to Washington, Marvin Bagley traded to Washington, who they got back 2 shooters again in Danilo Gallinari and Mike Muscala, clearing up cap space for them, getting vets on the team. Alec Burks is going to be someone that is going to be shooting the ball more, truthfully. Especially with Cade out. Cade is going to be out for a while. Killian Hayes being the main facilitator on the team now is not always the best. But Alex Burks is going to be someone that is going to have to take that step up, especially if a Bojan would be out one night and score a lot of points. I just think that if you're looking for somebody that is, again, red flag here, speaking about this, if you're looking for someone that is very low on rebounds and assists and you're willing to take that for the points, he is perfect for you. Points league, he's going to be very good for you. He's going to score as much points as he can. He's not going to go high in the assists, high in the rebound numbers. And finally, kind of a last note to talk about Alec Burks. Players on bad teams are usually huge hit or bust. When you go into fantasy, you're probably thinking, okay, I need the best players on the best teams, and even if they're role players on the best team, I'm fine with that. That's not exactly how fantasy works. I know a lot of people probably think that that's a good thing. Granted, sometimes it is, picking Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown or Kristaps, Derek White, Drew Holiday. Though that makes sense. That makes sense for a Celtics team. You would pick those players. But we're looking at like the Utah Jazz, the Pistons. We're seeing players like Keontae George have a really good season out of nowhere because maybe that's the rookie. Chris Dunn being somebody that could potentially be a pickup. Talking about back with the Grizzlies, Vince Williams Jr., someone that has been amazing when it comes to a 9-cat league. I think his last game he had 17, 8, 8, and 2 and 1. 2 steals, 1 block, or maybe it's back. Whatever it might be. Alec Burks shows this too, where on the Pistons, maybe on a championship team, he's a nothing. But on the Pistons, he can really be something because, let's be honest here. Young players, they're going to get as much development minutes as they can. But when it comes down to it and they are still tanking, they're going to add those vets that make no sense that are trying to play for a contract sometimes. So Alec Burks fits in perfectly here. And yeah, other than that, let's talk about availability. I keep forgetting about the availability. 22% from Yahoo, 2% on Sleeper, 4.1% on ESPN. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Very fun video to make here on the channel. Hope you guys like the first thing of Courtside Convo. There's going to be a lot more content on the channel from my end on Courtside Convo. Probably going to be also looking at some Dynasty content coming soon. Probably later on when the season's ending. Maybe around that February, middle of March kind of area. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.